School on Wheels of Massachusetts supports the academic, social, and emotional growth of students impacted by homelessness, hoping to end the cycle one child at a time. Julie Thompson invited Chief Executive Officer Stephen Telesmanick on to talk about their mission and the ways that you can help make a difference.
Thank you so much, Steve Telesmanick, for joining us today. You're the CEO of School on Wheels. Now, when I first read about this or heard about it, I thought, oh, you have a school that's actually in a bus and you travel around. So can you tell me why I'm wrong?
So School on Wheels is a program that brings services to students experiencing homelessness. We don't actually have a bus, but the idea is to bring our services of tutoring, mentoring, and backpacks to students in Massachusetts that are experiencing homelessness and really need these services.
So how do you, A, service the entire state of Massachusetts, and B, how do you find out who's newly homeless? Because I know that it's not like, oh, people become homeless in September and they're not again in June. It's a rolling that people become homeless all the time. How do you figure that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, homelessness is real in Massachusetts, and there are nearly 25,000 students in Massachusetts experiencing homelessness. So we identify students that are experiencing homelessness through our shelter partners. We operate in 18 different shelters, primarily in Southeast Massachusetts and Boston. So our shelter partners bring forward children that need help that are in the shelter, but also through homeless liaisons at each of the schools. Every school in Massachusetts is required to have someone designated as their homeless liaison. And we have these contacts at the school, so they provide referrals to us to help us get services to students in the school.
Now this is K through 12? Do you service the entire, the range of school age children?
Yes, K through 12 and beyond. Oftentimes, a student starts with School on Wheels by receiving a backpack during back to school time. So right now it's back to school time, and imagine most families going to the store to doing back to school shopping, getting their backpacks, getting their notebooks, getting their calculators, getting their pencils, pens, artwork. These supplies add up, often could be hundreds of dollars, and that's where we provide over 6,000 backpacks to students experiencing homelessness. This backpack could be a lifeline for these students. And we're so proud and honored to be able to help out these students who really need that extra help. Oftentimes, it's a decision for the family of dinner and school supplies, and we don't want to have that family have to make that tough decision.
Right.
So that's where we provide the backpacks.
Now, in a traditional school setting, you have maybe one teacher that has a number of students. Can you do that with this, or do you literally have to individualize for each scenario who can actually help the particular student?
Yes. So, for example, the backpacks, we customize the backpacks to grade level. So we have a pre-K through 3 backpack, and then we have a middle school backpack, and then we also give high school backpacks to have the scientific calculators, which could be near $80 alone for the scientific calculator. So we customize it for grade level, and oftentimes this is the first point of entry for a student to School on Wheels, to receive that backpack at the beginning of the year. Then we try to work with the shelters to provide tutoring. Again, during back to school time, a lot of these students are getting homework assignments, and they might feel that pressure that they might not have that support system at home to help them with their homework. So we're able to provide them with tutors that work with them one-on-one to help them with their homework and different assignments that may come along the way. So again, we're providing tutoring K through high school, but we also have a mentoring program for students in high school and beyond that match these students with positive role models in the community that help them through challenges they may come across.
So if I hear you, you do tutoring and you do mentoring. Now, the children or the students that are in homeless shelters, do they actually get bused to the school in the district that the shelter is in? And then you augment that with the tutoring, or do they not? Is the tutoring their entire education?
So students have the choice of which school that they want to go with. Oftentimes, again, it's very transient,
Right.
their living situation, and they could find semi-permanent housing throughout the school year and then get moved multiple times throughout the year. So it's very challenging for a student to stay consistent throughout the school year. Some of the students want to stay with their group of teachers and friends, and then they'll have to get on a bus upwards of an hour sometimes just to stay in that school system.
Yeah.
But they can start in a new school year, but oftentimes there's a lot of change involved in that. So we try to, help guide them along in that decision and weigh the pros and cons, but also work with them in the tutoring environment, in the shelter, after school. So they are going to school, but the tutoring supplements the school. As you know, these homework assignments could pile up, and even just the lessons that they learn during the school year, it's often better to have a positive role model in the evening, helping them work through these challenges and keep them on track as well.
So they have the consistency of that same tutor all the time, which is, I assume if you're homeless, consistency is so important. Now, do you also do remote support where, do they have a laptop? Do they have a tablet? Are they able to do remote support also?
Yes. So, of course, the pandemic has dramatically impacted students that are experiencing homelessness. Certainly the school systems were struggling in the past year to connect with students, and they worked wonders to create remote models for students in the school systems to work online. And School on Wheels partnered with a lot of school systems to adapt similar programs to continue to connect with students more often. And we also got a grant to purchase Chromebooks for students that are in our program. So some school systems only gave out one Chromebook per family, per address. And oftentimes they had to share. So it came down to some students were able to get on a Zoom meeting with a class, others weren't. That's where School on Wheels came in and provided them with Chromebooks to be able to access their school during the day. But also we set up remote tutoring as well. Certainly it's not the same as in-person tutoring, but we were able to connect with students remotely. And oftentimes the students were teaching some of our tutors how to log in, and
which is great.
It was great to connect with them and check in and help drive consistency with them.
Right, and again, that word consistency is so important. Now, do you also run School on Wheels during the summer where traditionally there's not traditional school going on?
Yeah, this is one of the programs that we're so excited about because we were out of the shelters providing in-person tutors for almost a year. So certainly we were able to connect remotely, but we were working with, we have an education committee with volunteers in the community that sit on this committee, and some of them are principals and teachers and homeless liaisons. And they were saying in the springtime, a lot of the students were experiencing gaps in social emotional learning. And we identified that we needed to get our in-person tutoring sessions back up and running. So we mobilized our volunteers and our site coordinators, and our education director opened summer tutoring for the first time in years. And to be able to go back into the shelters and safely tutor and see our students, they were so excited to see their tutors, and we're one big family. So the students were coming up to the School on Wheels volunteers and giving us great big hugs. They were always looking forward to that weekly session with them. And it really was great to get, again, that group together, learning and having fun.
That's great. Good for you. And obviously this isn't cheap. I mean, all of this costs money. So how are you funded? How do you raise money for School on Wheels?
Yeah, so School on Wheels provides these services at no charge. So we are a nonprofit organization, and it costs nearly $1 million each year to provide all our programs and services. And we do this by fundraising and via individuals, corporations, grants, and some state funding as well. But we could not do what we do without the generosity of the community donating and giving back their treasure to help us further our mission.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you is about the people that you actually have as your tutors, as your mentors. Are they all volunteers, and how can people get involved?
Yes, we always say we're so thankful for the generosity of time, talent, and treasure. Certainly folks donate the treasure in order for us to continue our mission, but also the time. We have hundreds of volunteers. All of our tutors are volunteers that want to give back to the community. So we couldn't be more blessed and thankful to have all these volunteers that help out in our shelters. But in addition to our volunteer tutors, to give away 6,000 backpacks is such an operation. It's a year-long operation that there's so many different community groups that come in to School on Wheels to put together some backpacks like you see in the background there.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see the community volunteer their time, come to School on Wheels and spend a day with us putting together backpacks. It's fun to see the competition of some of the groups. They say, we want to do 50 today. We want to do 100.
Oh, that's great.
We have a grand old time, and it's all for good. It's all for the kids that we're putting these backpacks together, and back to school time, there's nothing better than delivering these backpacks to students who need it.
Well, what a wonderful mission, and thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope people will check out your website and get involved and help to this very noble cause that you're with. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Joy.
Thanks, Julie and Stephen. To learn more and get involved, visit the School on Wheels of Massachusetts website at SOWMA.org. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to the local scene here and share everywhere. Thank you, friends.